Aloha, this is Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com with Friday's Market Wrap. As you can see, the market tried to do a slight little bounce today. A very nice tail that shows strong intraday support from the lows of the day today. But there's one problem on the New York Stock Exchange. Volume is lower, which means that there was not institutional support. Volume remains below the average on the New York Stock Exchange, which tells me institutions still are not buying this market. They are not in control. Let's go to other big cap indexes like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which I believe also had a small update today. As you can see, let's get in really close. As you can see, there's an open candle, so it did close higher than the open, which is moderately bullish, but too bad volume was lower than the day before. If this was to mean anything, you would see volume higher, like right around up here, compared to the drop down in volume yesterday when the indexes broke down. Let's also look at the S&P 500, which is very similar to the New York Stock Exchange, and you'll see the same thing. A nice bar. If this bar had volume to it, I might be like, hey, we could be bottoming because we're at the support levels of July. But without volume here, and with it was three straight distribution days. Actually, two. This one and this day and this day. Sorry, were the two distribution days. Comparing that to the jump up in the stock market today of 0.44%. With the lower volume just means that that's not the right support. You want a volume bar like this bar right here to say that things are good. And let's look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq can't keep falling. And even today, with its nice open and close candle bar, it still has volume above the 50-day moving average, 50-day day volume average. And if we put these 4 days together, that's what we have on this chart. A major breakdown on extremely heavy volume than the previous 3 weeks. Not good at all. So this is a major sell-off happening. There's now 1, 2, 3, 4 days of very heavy selling around over the average. So this is above normal average selling. This shows you that institutions are dumping stocks. Now, why did the Nasdaq go down while all the other indexes went up? Well, let's look at the leading stocks that are out there. Google, as you can see, was down 1.33% today, and here's a long-term chart of it. This is a topping chart, my friends. This is a chart that is not going to end up well, and if Google makes it back to the 200s and 100s, you're not going to be looking at a surprise me, because I'm not surprised if it does. And then there's another stock, which I told you that I was short, but I'm short First Solar, not RIMM. I got the two backwards. But as you can see, RIMM was down 0.5% today. This is another big stock on the index, and as you can see, it's rolling over. It's rolling over. This is not good. You want cut bases that break out, and then when they roll over like that, that's very bearish. So that's another very bearish sign. And then we look at stocks like Baidu. Baidu was going sideways, building a base right here, an ugly base, and now it breaks down on heavier volume. Baidu was down today, 0.18%. Adding on to the Nasdaq's problems was Apple. Apple makes up a lot of the Nasdaq now. It was down 0.65%. You can see the same thing happening here. It tried to break out, failed at the same past highs, rolled over once, rolling over twice now, and I'm sure it's not going to be too much later till we see this stock back around the 100 level. It's just got that rollover pattern that I'm used to seeing on all past winners. Like First Solar. I know First Solar came out only in 2006, but it had a big enough gain from its IPO to the top. Right around here with a 1,140% that it could be in trouble. And as you can see, it was down again today, 0.47%. So this is another Nasdaq stock down almost 0.5% and on heavier volume. And there is still one more out there that's a Nasdaq stock that is just now breaking down again, and that's Intuitive Surgical, ISRG. This is another 300 price stock that could easily see the 100s again, as you see down here. These stocks normally round trip in a bear market, so with them just freshly breaking down, I want to stop hearing about how there's a bottom. I keep hearing from some people that the bottom should be soon. There might be a bottom. I heard Barton Briggs calling for a bottom. The same guy who during 2000, 2001, when internet stocks were crashing, were telling you to buy. That's the same guy. So if we look at Baidu, Google, RIMM, Apple, First Solar, and ISRG, all stocks over $100, all stocks breaking down after trying to make bases, ugly bases. That's why the Nasdaq was down today. As you can see here, once it pulls it up, it's slowing down now a little bit. There we go. Okay, and that's why the Nasdaq was down 3 points today, 0.14%. I saw after the news the market spiked up because I heard that there's a Freddie and Fannie possible Treasury Department bailout. As you can see, it's well above the lows here. There's been some volume, but since the July volume, the big up day was broken. There we go. I just don't have a whole lot of faith that it's going to do anything. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mae go back into the teens, but I'm pretty nervous. I do like that I saw Max Green Bob showing up down here on Fannie and Freddie, but not even on Freddie, excuse me, but on Fannie, but it's losing it, and the volume's declining as it was trying to rally. So it's not what we like to see. One thing I do like seeing is the United States dollar. Look at that beautiful uptrend since July and look at it since 2008. It's up for the year. It's made a nice round here of higher lows from March, April to July, and with that then came the breakout in August above the 50 and 200-day moving average, and now the US dollar is above the 50-day moving average, with the 50-day moving average above the 200-day moving average. So for those of you who would be looking for the market to bottom, this is what you want the stock market to look like right here before you start going out and buying any kind of stocks. Because remember what I tell you, price above 50-day moving average with the 50-day moving average over the 200-day moving average is what helps stocks get that extreme momentum that helps them put in the 500% to 3,000% gains that you can get in 2003 and 1999 type bull markets. We will have another bull market. I don't think it's anytime soon. Our dollar is very strong, and that's very good for me because prices on Maui are getting ridiculous. And at the same time, you can see natural gas and oil. This basically just represents all oil right here, the U.S. natural gas. You're just looking at a complete destruction right here. And there's a weekly, a full round trip of the 2008 uptrend. So if you want to know why the New York Stock Exchange Dow Jones is up while the Nasdaq was down, I showed you the leaders are just now rolling over as I'm showing you. These are fresh rollovers. It's not like they're already down here to 112 and 109. Then I can see everybody's trying to call a bottom, but you can't call a bottom when your past big leaders of the past bull market are all doing the exact same chart pattern, rolling over, with Google being the big one leading them down. This is Joshua Hayes with the BigWaveTrading.com update for Friday. I'm going to throw the Nasdaq chart back up there to end this off on, just so you can see it's a fresh breakdown. It's nothing new. So there's still a lot further this thing can fall, as you can see on a weekly. We could easily fall a lot. There's a lot of big red volume bar days compared to green volume bar days. And as you can see, even on the up weeks, there's so many that have negative reversals along the way that I don't see this market bottoming anytime too soon. And if you continue to hear pundits on TV calling a bottom, I guarantee they are some of the people that own Baidu, Apple, GOOG. They are trapped longs because this market is breaking. My only hot chart out there is broken now, as it no longer has the green bop, as it fell apart. I've sold 50% of it now total, and I'm going to look to get out of more of it now, as now it's even lost its green bop. So as you can see with this beautiful chart, this was our only one out there. There is one setting up that's pretty nice that I'll probably go long, but that's for subscribers, not for free YouTube viewership. Thank you very much for tuning in to the BigWaveTrading.com market wrap for Friday. I hope your weekend is a great weekend, and I shall see you on Monday. Aloha.